Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. My name is Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. I am coming to you live from Walter Brown Arena on the campus of Boston University in Boston, Massachusetts. Here to bring you coverage of today's Division I high school varsity boys hockey contest between the visiting Flyers of Framingham High School and the hosting Brookline High Warriors. This will be an interesting game for sure, and no matter who wins, we will see a winning streak snapped. Or not a winning streak. No matter who wins, we will see a losing streak snapped, rather, I should say. The visiting Framingham Flyers coming into this contest with a 6-7 overall record on the season, and they are currently on a 3-game losing streak that has dropped them below 500 on the year. Currently, they are ranked 32nd in Division I, so just barely holding on to a playoff spot. On the other side, the hosting Brookline High Warriors come into this game with a 4-11 overall record. They're in the midst of a 4-game losing streak, and they are ranked 45th in Division I. So Framingham needs a win to help hold on to their playoff spot, and Brookline, a win over a higher-ranked opponent could do a lot to boost their spot in the power rankings, which they need badly if they're going to want a chance at the playoffs, because a 500 or over record seems a bit out of reach at this point. And meanwhile, as the Zamboni is finishing up the last of its rounds, you can see the Warriors in the tunnel getting, and you might see some little Warriors next to them, as this is the special Skate with a Warrior night, where some of the kids from the local squirt level teams are able to go out on the ice and skate before the game with their fellow Warriors at the high school varsity level. Also, as a part of this event, Brookline taking donated condiments for the Brookline Food Pantry. You can hear more, we'll say more about the Brookline Food Pantry during the first intermission, because they are a great group doing a lot of great work around the community. But for now, out come the officials, as the Zamboni heads off into the corner. Excuse me. The officials bringing out the nets, and soon we will see the players coming out onto the ice. Remember, as always, if you end up enjoying this live stream, be sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all my upcoming live streams, including all home games for Brookline High girls and boys hockey. That includes the boys hockey's senior day game coming up this Saturday afternoon back here at Walter Brown against Newton North. Be sure to stay tuned for all of those. Subscribing to the channel can help. And if there's anything you'd like to say, you can say it in the live chat. Could be as simple as go Brookline or go Framingham. No matter who you're rooting for, we always appreciate the good vibes. You could shout out your favorite player in the live chat if you're watching a family member or a friend. You could let us know where you're tuning in from, because that's always fun. With these online live streams, people can tune in from all over the world so long as they got a Wi-Fi connection. If you notice any technical difficulties with the stream, letting me know in the live chat can be a huge help. It might be something I don't notice on my end, and it might be something I can fix. And of course, if you notice me mispronouncing anyone's names, or if I have anything on my roster incorrect, you can correct me in the live chat, and I encourage you to do so. And so now, as part of the pregame, out come the Brookline Squirt Warriors. It's just a nice little introduction of the ice that they'll get to skate on once they grow older and become high school level Warriors. And now coming out onto the ice are the varsity players, or some of them anyway, as they are getting ready to warm up. I'm not entirely sure how this pregame is going. Oh, here's what we're doing. We're doing a shootout. They're letting the kids go for a shootout. Oh, this is fun. Fun little bit of pregame activities here for the youngins. So that's really cool. I like to see that. And then in the meantime, out onto the ice have come the visiting Framingham High Flyers. So let's really quick go through the roster for the visitors. As actually it looks like they're, I don't know how much longer they're doing the squirt players. So just keep an eye on them for a bit, but it looks like they are about to wrap things up, and indeed the squirt players are coming off the ice. So that was a fun little pregame festivity, and now let's take a look at the rosters for the two teams getting ready to play here tonight. First, for the Framingham Flyers, going in order of jersey number. First off, a senior, number 2, Shay Callahan. A senior, number 3, Will Garrettson. A junior, number 4, Jeremy Oren. A junior, number 7, Dominic Connerny. A senior, number 8, Billy Nyberger. A senior, number 9, Davin Nichols. A senior, number 10, Stephen Boulos. A junior, number 11, Robbie White. A junior, number 12, Noah Albright. A senior, number 14, Justin Nichols. A junior, number 15, Cole Beninati. A junior, number 16, Will Corton. A senior, number 17, Michael St. Cyr. A junior, number 18, Brendan Peck. A sophomore, number 19, Jack Kurtzman. A sophomore, number 21, Nolan McEnany. Senior, number 23, Brian Gwen. A junior, number 24, Nick Duplessis. A sophomore, number 25, Jason Fitch. A senior, number 26, John Urardi. A junior, number 27, John Hudson. A junior, number 29, Troy Huber. A junior, number 30, Colin McKinney. And a junior, number 31, Robert Geltman. Head coach of the Framingham High boys hockey team is Dan Riva. Now, for the roster for the hosting Brookline High Warriors. Once again, going in order of jersey number. First off, we have a freshman, number 2, Jack Herman. A senior alternate captain, number 3, Marcus Pace. A junior captain, number 4, Noah Gurdon. Hold on a second. Just wanted to up the levels of the exposure a bit. Continuing with the roster, we have a senior number 5, Steve McDougall. Next up, a freshman number 6, Greg Aptekman. A sophomore number 7, Connor Erdman. A junior number 8, Tommy May. A sophomore number 9, Max Guo. A sophomore number 10, Jace Gongadarin. A junior number 11, Seth Walpowitz. A junior alternate captain, number 12, Henry Ames. A sophomore number 13, Grady Ames. A senior number 16, Jason O'Brien. A senior captain number 17, Emmett Tien. A sophomore number 18, Thomas O'Brien. A sophomore number 19, Ryan Wilson. A freshman number 21, Owen Lacey. A senior number 22, Matthew Murphy. A sophomore number 23, Dylan Katz. A senior number 27, James Redding. A sophomore number 30, Jack O'Connor. And a freshman number 31, Craig Haas. Head coach of the Brookline High boys hockey team is Anthony Sarno, with assistant coaches Mike O'Neill, Steven Sarno, Anthony Sarno Jr., and Joe Iadarola. So that is the rosters for the two teams. Once again, if you noticed me flubbing anyone's name, please let me know in the live chat. We got a little less than 3 minutes on the pregame clock. Warriors versus Flyers. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan at Walter Brown Arena, and you are watching Brookline High Hockey. Oh, that's in! Oh my gosh, don't blink! Broken up, goes back to Redding, long shot, deflects, Erdman puts it in! Rebound recovered by Redding. Redding tries to send one through the middle. Grady Ames! Grady Ames with the power play goal! Tried to shoot one, it's blocked, recovered by Erdman, shot, juicy rebound, Henry Ames! Now it's a chase for the puck. Caleb ball didn't get there, fires, juicy rebound, score! Emmett Tien with the hat trick! All right, about a minute left in this one. Let's take a very quick glance at the projected lines for Brookline today. Starting with the forwards, you can see on line 1, they have number 5, Steve McDougall at center, flanked by number 17, Emmett Tien on his right, and number 3, Marcus Pace on his left. Second forward line, Grady Ames at center, Henry Ames on the right, Max Guo on the left. Third line, Connor Erdman at center, Jace Gongadarin on the right wing, Matthew Murphy on the left. And in the fourth line, Greg Aptekman at center, Owen Lacey at right wing, and Tommy May at left wing. And now looking at the defensive pairings. The first pairing, number 27, James Redding, paired with number 4, Noah Gurdon. On the second line, Thomas O'Brien and Dylan Katz. The third pairing, Seth Walpowitz and Ryan Wilson. And then the fourth defensive pairing, Jason O'Brien and Jack Herman. And we see some of the Squirt Warriors getting to come out on the ice and skate around at the tail end of warm-ups. We see the Warriors huddling up around their net over on the left side, the Flyers huddling around over on the right.
Good evening and welcome to
And the PA announcer is taking over.
Conference matchup between Framingham Flyers and your Brookline Warriors. Participating student athletes, coaches, and contest officials have privileged and prepared for today's competition. Please show your appreciation.
We got a question in the live chat from Steve Sheridan. What are the records for these teams? Brookline comes in at 4-11. They're ranked 45th in Division 1. Framingham is 6-7. They are 32nd in Division 1. Both teams on a bit of a losing streak. Framingham has lost 3 straight. Brookline has lost 4 straight. So they're both hoping for different results here today.
And now the starting lineups for the Framingham Flyers.
So here we go. Starting lineup for the Flyers. First up is number 4, Jeremy Oren. Next up is number 12, Noah Albright. I think I see number 18, Brendan Peck. Number 11, Robbie White. Number, I think, 27, John Hudson. And in the net for Framingham today is number 30, Colin McKinney. Now the starters for Brookline. First off, number 3, Marcus Pace. Number 17, Emmett Tien. Number 5, Steve McDougall. Number 4, Noah Gurdon. Number 27, James Redding. And starting in net, number 31, Craig Haas. Now here comes the national anthem. All right, that was the national anthem. Looking at the live chat, we got some good vibes going already from Marlene Lyons, Go Warriors, and Dylan Katz. From Donnell O'Neill, JR the GOAT, and Emmett also the GOAT. Emmett, of course, referring to Emmett Tien. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe JR is referring to James Redding. A bit of a clarification from Troy Huber, saying that Davin Nichols is no longer on the team. Well, hopefully that's the only thing I've got wrong on the roster that I took from masshshockey.com. There wasn't a program physically for me to get, so I rely just on my online source. But if any Framingham fans notice any other incorrect, any incorrect names or incorrect jersey numbers or incorrect pronunciations And same with any Brookline fans. I know I've covered quite a few games for this team this season, but it's possible I might have been getting someone's name wrong the whole time and just nobody's bothered to say anything. So if that's the case, please bother to say something. Opening face-off. Here we go. 15 minutes on the clock. Brookline against Framingham. And here we go. The face-off is sent down to the far side, and a bit of a scrum for it. And it's ultimately pushed into the Framingham end. Emmett Tian pushes it off the boards, collects it himself, comes around the back, sends a pass back to James Redding. Long shot is deflected wide. Chasing it down is Marcus Pace, sends it around. Attempted clear, ricochets several different ways. McDougall takes it around the back. McDougall passes it along the boards, finds Pace. Pace from the back, lifts it over to the near side boards. McDougall chases it down, sends it around the corner for Pace. Poked away from Pace, recovered by Tien. Backhand pass finds Pace. Pace trying to get a pass through. It ricochets several different ways and is cleared out, but bounces right off the body of Redding. And Redding backhands it right back into the Framingham end. Chasing it down is Robbie White. He sends it around the back, and it's sent back around to White from number 27, John Hudson. White recovers it again, sends it off the boards, and up to his teammate, number 4, Jeremy Oren, who sends it deep in the Brookline end as both teams make some line changes. Dylan Katz pushes it up the line for Henry Ames. Weird ricochet keeps it in the Brookline end, but Thomas O'Brien pushes it out. Pushed right back into the Brookline end by number 19, Jack Kurtzman. Now skating with it is Katz. Pass misses. Kurtzman long shot saved by Haas. Just barely off his shoulder there, as that was close. Now skating around with it, getting pinned to the boards. It is zipped around the corners. And ricochets, and whoa, a bit of confusion about who was going to make that clear. Almost ended up with a bad ricochet for Brookline, but it does stay out of the net. Max Guo with a block, but it got too far out in front of him. And it's taken back, now pushed into the Brookline end by number 15, Cole Beninati. Thomas O'Brien kind of whiffed on that clear, but managed to send it up the boards. Into the neutral zone it goes. Pass back and forth between the defensemen, Dominic Connerny and number 26, John Girardi. Moved into the neutral zone, where it's chased down by Connor Erdman. Passed across to Redding. Redding moves it up the ice to Matthew Murphy. Now over to Jace Gongadarin. Gongadarin pushes it down into the Framingham end, and we've got a delayed penalty. Or do we? Oh, do they just call offsides? I think they just called offsides on Brookline. And meanwhile, Brookline has switched out their goalie. Craig Haas has come out in favor of Jack O'Connor. Off the face-off, it is pushed into the Framingham end by Murphy. Sent off the boards, gets up to number 21, Nolan McInerney. Lifted into the Brookline end. Chasing it down is Gurdon. Noah Gurdon skating with it. He's got plenty of room to work, goes through the neutral zone, ricochets off a skate, and it's not kept past the blue line. Gongadarin was trying to keep it on the attack, but just barely couldn't. Once again, if there's any technical difficulties you notice, please let me know in the live chat. I don't think there will be, but, you know, just in case. Neutral zone face-off is won by Framingham, passed around. Now White sends a long one up for number 18, Peck. Peck lifts it down to the Brookline end. Now a juicy pass just misses in the slot. Long shot is off the face of Dylan Katz. Now a save by O'Connor, and O'Connor falls on it. That's one of those moments where you're like, thank God for whoever invented the face mask. As Katz comes off the ice, he seems okay. That long shot from Hudson bounced right off his noggin, but thankfully they wear protective equipment. White long shot sails high. Chased down along the boards, moved into the neutral zone. It's recovered by White, and I think we've got another offsides call against Brookline as McDougall was walling off the clear attempt. Or no, do we have a penalty? What's going on? Okay, nobody's in the box, but we have a face-off in the Framingham end. Not sure quite what happened. Face-off sent to the near side boards, sent around the corner. Now moved up. Pass gets to Peck, broken up, and taken back by Brookline. Now McDougall pushes it into the Framingham end. Off the ricochet, it's taken by Kurtzman. Kurtzman sends it around for number 12, and now up to Peck. Poked away by Noah Gurdon and chased down by Redding. Redding comes around the back and turns around, gives to Gurdon. Gurdon looking for his opening since a long pass misses his target. It is taken back by number 3, Will Garrettson, and sent back to the Brookline end, where it is taken now by Redding. Redding, long pass, finds Pace. Pace skating with it, gains the blue line, curves in. Nice juicy pass, Tien scores! Emmett Tien off the assist from Steve McDougall and Marcus Pace. He sent it top shelf where Mama hides the cookies, and Brookline takes the 1-0 lead. Great advance by the Brookline first forward line. As Pace moved it in, he was trying to deke, but it got deflected away from him. But because he had moved it forward enough, it deflected right to the stick of McDougall, who did a nice simple little backhand tap back to Tien. Those two have worked on the same line a lot over the past 2 years, and they were just in sync on that play. And then Tien, he just didn't miss. 1-0, the Brookline lead. And so Brookline now trying to clear it out. Framingham keeping up the pressure. Shot is blocked by the body of Thomas O'Brien, coming off the stick of number 14, Justin Nichols. Passes go through. Now it's Max Guo lifting it deep into the Framingham end, chasing it down himself while Brookline makes a change. Guo coming around, sends it around the corner for Tien. Tien coming around, pass deflected but recovered by McDougall, sent around the corner for Tien. Tien tried to backhand it, walled off. Now he sends a backhand around the back, gets away from McDougall. Chased down and lifted up the boards, but Redding launches a long shot, and it's covered up by McKinney. Now a Framingham end face-off. Won by Framingham. Hudson sends it around for White. White sends it up. Couple ricochets, and now out to the neutral zone. Just gets away from number 4, Jeremy Oren, but now he steals it back, passes through. Shot blocked by the big body of James Redding. Now Pace pushes it into the neutral zone. He stays with it, gains the blue line, moving around, lost the puck, and it's covered up by McKinney. And I think Framingham might have taken some umbrage at first as Tien, in chasing the puck, he had to stop very close to the net, might have snowed the goalie a bit. But it looked unintentional. Put his hands up right after the play was over as if, my bad, my bad. But another good advance by Marcus Pace. He's been doing very well off that wing position on the first forward line. Face-off is collected by Hudson. Sends it around the back to White. White sends it up for number 12, Noah Albright. Out to the neutral zone. McDougall pushes it right back in, but Brookline just letting them come to them. Pass goes up to Oren. Another pass intercepted by Tien and pushed back into the Framingham end. Chased down by Hudson. Hudson sends it around the boards. Cut off by Tien. Backhanded back around. McHander just misses Pace. And it's taken instead, I believe, by Peck. Long pass up to Oren. Oren skating against Katz. Couldn't deke. It went too far. Turns around, backhand pass taken away by Pace. But it's poked back. A chance. Albright goes through the legs, and Framingham ties it. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. I mean, if I'm Noah Albright, I'm definitely saying, oh, yeah, I planned that the whole time. But whether he lost track of the puck and it just luckily slid through the goalie's legs, or if it was some kind of elaborate fake, either way, Noah Albright with the goal off the assists from Jeremy Oren and Brendan Peck. High-scoring first period, 1 goal from each side, and we're all tied up. Moved down into the Brookline end where it's tracked by Redding. Redding sends it off the boards. It's recovered by Kurtzman, sent off the boards and around the back. Redding now tries to clear it, but gets caught up in the official skate, so Redding recovers it. And so now Grady Ames lifts it off the boards for his brother, Henry Ames. Backhander for Guo, couldn't get a clean one on it. And off the several ricochets, it's recovered by Kurtzman. Sent off the boards, but Grady Ames recovers it. Long shot, picked up by McKinney. Oh, but he didn't fall on it. Guo trying to keep out the pressure, but it's blocked by Kurtzman. Now it's pinned up against the boards. They're still scrumming for it. Puck's in the corner. Sent around the back to Kurtzman. Kurtzman sends it up, misses his target. Katz keeps it on the attack end, but now it's pushed out to the neutral zone. Brookline in the middle of a line change. And they somehow in the middle of that chaos managed to time their line change properly. Gaining the blue line for a brief second was number 22, who is not on my roster, unfortunately. But it is pushed back to the Framingham end. And now pushed back out where it's taken by Thomas O'Brien. Pass up, finds McDougall. McDougall skating through, couldn't get a pass off. Pace tried to keep it on the attack. And now O'Brien trying to keep it on the attack. And he does. Pace, it's pushed back out, and it's going to go all the way down to O'Connor. O'Connor is going to leave it for Katz. Sent around the boards for O'Brien. Now Pace moves it into the neutral zone, finds Tien. Tien trying to get around one last defenseman. Tien approaching long, backhander goes wide. Recovered by Beninati, passes up, and it was lost against the boards by number 10, Stephen Boulas. Long pass goes off the stick of Tien, and it's recovered by number 7, Dominic Connerny. Pass goes up. Beninati couldn't get through multiple defensemen, and it's taken by Gurdon. Gurdon coming around the back. Keeps pushing it through the neutral zone, gains the blue line. Gurdon tried to deke around a defenseman, but was just cut off. Now pinned to the boards. Ricochet goes to Gurdon. Long shot saved by McKinney. Hudson sends it around the back. White gets there first. Pass up, finds Oren. Oren passes over to the far side. Skating in, a shot saved by McKinney. Rebound goes high. A huge chance, and another one redirected by Redding. Now sent around again. They tried to send it through the slot, but Gurdon was waiting for it that time. Taken back by Albright, and nobody there this time as Redding lifts it out into the stands. The Brookline defense, both lucky and clutch in that sequence. A couple of juicy chances for Framingham, none juicier than that initial putback chance, which sailed just over the crossbar. Now a Brookline zone faceoff. .5:45 on the clock here in the first period. Faceoff controlled by Brookline. This is Connor Erdman skating with it for a second, trying to muscle it out to the neutral zone, but it's knocked back. Still pinned up against the boards. Coming out with it, it's pushed back to the Brookline end. Thomas O'Brien was waiting for it. Now taken back, long shot is saved by O'Connor. That came off the stick of number 17, Michael St. Cyr. One to one, we're all knotted up with 5:28 on the clock here in the first. Emmett Tien, the goal scorer for Brookline. Noah Albright for Framingham. Face-off is knocked back. A long pass down to the corner. And now an interception by Pace. Pace keeping with the puck. Now tries a pass, and it's cut off by Kurtzman. And a stick goes flying up into the netting. That was almost dangerous for a second. Taken back by McDougall. Pace just sends it wide. Recovered now by John Urardi. Sent back to Will Garrettson. Garrettson sends it around. It's moved into the neutral zone, and now a race for the puck as Redding manages to clear it out to the neutral zone, and it's tapped from pace to Tien. Tien gains the blue. Long shot is redirected, deflected by Kurtzman up into the netting. I have never seen a stick go flying like that. That was insane. I mean, I've seen a baseball bat go flying like that, but that's a different story in a different sport in a different time. And thankfully no one was hurt. Don't worry. It flew like a few feet left of my head, so I'm okay. Now, whistle stoppage. Maybe did Katz down it wrong with his hand? That looks like what the call is, and that's why we're heading down to the Brookline end for this face-off with 4:44 on the clock here in the first period. Face-off between Connor Erdman and number 22. It's won for a second by Framingham. That long insert deflected, and it's going into the corner, and a hard check into the boards, and that's sending Brookline to the box. Delayed penalty. And Thomas O'Brien went in high in that bit of no man's land. And he, shows good sportsmanship, checks to make sure number 22 is okay. Looks like he is. He's skating off on his own power. That's always good to see. But regardless, O'Brien will be going into the box for a 2-minute minor for coming in high in a dangerous area. Oh, no, they actually assessed a 5-minute major to O'Brien. So this is going to be a big opportunity for Framingham as they are going on the power play for a full 5 minutes. And this will actually bleed into the second period. Face-off won by Framingham. Pass goes back to White. White from the point over to Albright. Tries to send one through. A one-timer just whiffed by Peck. Now collected by Redding and a long clear. Stopped by McKinney. McKinney pass deflected by Grady Ames, keeping up the forecheck. Ames trying to apply the pressure, doing a pretty solid job, but it is ultimately recovered by Oren. Passed around the back. It's White now skating with it. Pass across, going around a pick. This is Albright. Albright gains the blue. Turns around looking for a passing option. Sends it back to White. White from the point sends a pass to Peck. Peck has to just tap it for a teammate. It's sent back to Peck. Now back to the point to White. White lost it in the neutral zone. Tien stealing it back. Emmett Tien kept it. Tien scores again! And he goes tumbling after all the effort he had to get that open chance. Emmett Tien with 2 goals now, one on the shorthand as Brookline takes the lead. White lost it just around the blue line. Tien jumped on it, muscled his way past White, although White took out his footing just a bit as he was making his approach, but Tien kept it, deked out the goalie who came out a little aggressive and was able to keep the puck just enough to where he could push it into the wide open net. Unassisted goal for Emmett Tien, his second score of the day. Now gaining the blue line once again are the Flyers, but pinned to the boards, and it's taken back once again by James Redding. He's made a few great defensive efforts early in this one. Long clear stopped by McKinney, taken around the back by Kurtzman. McDougall in pursuit. Gets pinned to the boards for a second, but now Framingham skating up with it. This is Beninati, long shot blocked by Katz. And they go flying into the boards, scrumming for the puck. Pass goes back, just misses the target, Boulos, but it's recovered by Kurtzman. Kurtzman sends a pass across, and now another poke check from Tien. He's keeping up the pressure on the shorthand. Pass goes over to Kurtzman. Kurtzman Gets it up to Boulos. Boulos skating with it in the corner. Off the pressure, it is recovered for a second by 22, but now lost in the neutral zone. Emmetian, no way! Shot saved by McKinney. And now it gets covered up by McKinney. McKinney was trying to leave it for someone to take it, I think. Two to one, still the Brookline lead. Framingham still on the power play. Faceoff is ultimately controlled by Oren. Oren skating with it, gets around Redding, but has to turn around and pass it back to Albright. Albright fakes, almost loses the puck. It's pinned to the boards. He manages to slide a pass out. It is recovered by Peck. Peck sends it down to the corner to Oren. Oren sends it through to the middle. A juicy chance, but somehow saved by O'Connor. And a hard slam into the boards. And a stick goes flying, as I think the stick might have been broken for number 17, Michael St. Cyr. Now Albright skating with it. Sends it off the boards, and it's taken by Henry Ames. Ames backhands it back into the Framingham end, where it's chased down by White. White sends it off the back. Now a long pass gets up to Oren. Now Oren, making his approach, goes into the corner, turns around, backhand pass intercepted by Henry Ames, given to McDougall. McDougall sends a pass through, intercepted by number 7, Dominic Connerny. Now Peck skating with it. Poke check successful by Gurdon, but it's taken right back by Albright. Now Peck once again skating with it. Trying to weave his way through. Shot misses wide. Might have been turned aside by O'Connor. Recovered by Albright. Sent off the back to Oren. Oren coming out of the corner. Sends it back to Albright. Albright's shot blocked by Henry Ames. Recovered by 22. Pass one-timer goes wide. Recovered by Albright. Pass across to Connerny. Now a pass down, goes back to Connerny. Long shot, redirects, just sent wide on the attempted redirect. Another one is walled off by Gurdon and lifted out by McDougall. McKinney takes it, leaves it for his teammate to pick it up. Long pass goes up to Kurtzman, and that is going to end the first period, and what a first period it was. Emmett Tian with 2 goals, one on the shorthand. Well, for Framingham, 1 score from Noah Albright. The score is Brookline 2, Framingham 1 as we go into the first intermission. And during this first intermission, I'd like to take a moment for a local charity spotlight. I'd like to tell you about the Brookline Food Pantry. The Brookline Food Pantry provides groceries to Brookline residents in need of food assistance. The pantry saw a huge increase in demand for food assistance at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, and that number has remained steadily high ever since. The food pantry has been serving an average of 650 households each week, more than 4 times the rate of families served pre-COVID. The Brookline Food Pantry continues to fight the good fight against hunger in our community, and they are always looking for more people willing to lend a hand, whether through monetary donations, direct food donations, or volunteers in the pantry. Food donations can be made at United Parish Church at 210 Harvard Street in Brookline on Wednesdays and Fridays from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Monetary donations can be made online at the food pantry's website, brooklinefoodpantry.org. You can go online to brooklinefoodpantry.org or call 617-800-5339 for more information about how you can help the Brookline Food Pantry to feed the hungry in your community. Once again, that's brooklinefoodpantry.org or call 617-800-5339. And remember, as always, you can find all the information you need about our local charity spotlight down in the description section down below, the link to the website and the phone number for the Brookline Food Pantry, which is nice because today there is a bit of a donation collection going on. They are collecting condiments to give to the Brookline Food Pantry. Always good to see the local team supporting the local nonprofits. Some comments in the live chat from Marlene Lyons. Nice start, and yes, keep going Warriors. From Steve Sheridan, where Mama hides the cookies. I love it. And my brother also gave that line a thumbs up. Listen, you can't beat the classics. What can I say? And from former Brookline High boys hockey coach Mike Yanovich. Great job, Jesse, as always. Thanks so much, Coach. Happy to see you tuning in and following your old team. And I'm sure they'll love to see that you were tuning in if they come back and watch this later. But in the meantime, first intermission, Brookline 2, Framingham 1. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan at Walter Brown Arena. I'm going to take a brief break off the mic, but I'll be back for the second period. Stay tuned. Hello again, everybody. Back on the mic, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, coming to you live from Walter Brown Arena in Boston, Massachusetts. Well, we had an exciting first period here in this Division I varsity boys hockey contest between the Brookline High Warriors and the Framingham High Flyers. Brookline scored pretty early in that first period. A goal by Emmett Tian, a nice high-flying wrister, off assists from line mates Steve McDougall and Marcus Pace. But then, shortly after, Framingham was able to answer on a rather unassuming goal that just kind of slid between the goalie's legs. Kind of got confused about where things were as Noah Albright just managed to touch it into the net for the equalizer. But then, after Brookline was hit with a 5-minute major penalty, Emmett Tian took advantage of a slight gaffe by the point man at the blue line, took the puck back, went end-to-end, and deked out the goalie to put one in the back of the net for his second goal and a go-ahead score. And so that's where we stand, 2-1. Brookline leads Framingham. And we see returning for the second period in between the pipes for Brookline, number 30, Jack O'Connor. Not sure what happened with Craig Haas, if he got hurt on the goal-scoring play or if that was just a mistake and the coach decided to bench him. I mean, both O'Connor and Haas are really young. Haas a freshman, O'Connor a sophomore. And so, you know, things are, mistakes are going to happen. You're going to have your ups and your downs. It's a long high school career, and it's just the start for both of them. And it's just the start of the second period now as Framingham controls it off the face-off. They still have a little less than 20 seconds. Tian, oh my gosh! I was trying to look down at the scoreboard, but Brookline scores! Steve McDougall on the shorthand, are you kidding me? This might be the most productive 5-minute shorthand I have ever seen. 2 shorthand goals during a 5-minute major. This is madness. Steve McDougall makes it a 3-1 Brookline lead. Still 11 seconds left on the penalty against Thomas O'Brien. I don't even know how to describe what happened there, because when the play started, I was looking down at the scoreboard cam to try and see how much time was left on the penalty. And I turned back and suddenly Tian's setting up to possibly score again. They wall him off, but then it deflects right to the stick of McDougall, and he takes advantage. And now we're back at even strength. That was insane. Meanwhile, the puck pinned up against the near side boards, but now taken back. This is John Urardi. He's cut off by Noah Gurdon. Sent through the middle, and it's walled off by O'Connor. Cleared out by James Redding. Sent back around the corner, taken by Redding. Pass up to Emmett Tian. Tian pass up to Marcus Pace. Pace sends it up for Tian. Tian gets around a defender. Tian backhand pass is walled off by Jack Kurtzman. Lifted out to the neutral zone where it was stopped for a second, but now taken by Jeremy Oren. Oren weaving through, got a chance, shave! Shot saved by Jack O'Connor. Man, I was caught trying to say shot and save at the same time. I ended up saying shave, but that was a close shave for Brookline in a way, so I guess it works. Brookline end faceoff won by Framingham, kicked back to Garrettson. Garrettson sends it down to Albright, leaves it for Peck. Peck coming around the back, tries to jam it in, walled off. Poked ahead to Max Guo, who sends it up for Henry Ames. Henry Ames racing across the blue line, turns around, backhander for Max Guo. Guo sends it around the corner. Grady Ames pushes it along. Nobody there to collect it. Garrettson gets there first. Attempt to clear, walled off by Ames. Recovered off the ricochet by Peck. Touched ahead for Albright. Albright skating. Pass through for Peck. Peck whiffed on the backhand, but he drew a penalty. Now a delayed penalty. They send out 6 skaters, and Brookline touches it. That will trigger the penalty. And honestly, if you're a Brookline fan, that's one of those plays where you're like, okay, that's a good penalty, because that was a big opening for Brendan Peck. And if not for either a hook or a hold, whatever they decide to call, then that could have been a goal for the Flyers. And going into the box, once again, I believe will be Thomas O'Brien. Off the face-off, it's controlled by Connerny. Sent across, long shot saved by O'Connor. Tien tries to clear, but it's walled off by Kurtzman. Passed across to Connerny. Connerny shot off the crossbar. And you could hear the crowd off of that one. Kurtzman passes it over to Boulos down low to 22. Out to Boulos, across to Kurtzman, winds and fires, and it goes off his own teammate's body. And Redding lifts it out. Stopped by McKinney and left for Kurtzman. Kurtzman pass up for Boulos, but it's stolen back by Emmett Tien. Tien gains the blue line, approaches, backhander saved by McKinney. Pushed into the neutral zone. Trying to push it forward, but it's taken back again by Tien, and Tien lifts it all the way down to the Framingham end. Brookline makes a full change to their PK unit. Long pass misses everybody, and that's actually going to be an icing. I think there was some miscommunication as a line change was happening. They were trying to take advantage of Brookline's line change, but because of their own line change, miscommunicated and missed the pass there. 53 seconds still left on the penalty. Face-off controlled by White. Leaves it. Skating with it now is Albright. Albright gains the blue line. Gets around. Coming around the back. Passes it back to White. White gives it to Albright. Albright sends one through to Oren. Oren from the corner. Passes it out to Peck. Across to White. One-timer misses wide, and O'Connor pokes it out of the slot. It's recovered by Framingham. Pass back and forth, back to White at the point. Sends it, almost redirects in. Walled off just barely by O'Connor, but they keep the play alive. Oren, pass back to Peck. Across to White. White back to Peck. Peck tries to send one through. It's deflected, but does get to Albright, sent around the back. Now sent back to Peck, sends one through. One-timer whiffed by Albright, sent around the back to Oren. Oren tries to tap a pass through, collected by Albright, sends a pass across to Peck. Shot saved by O'Connor. Couple of big chances for Framingham. O'Connor either lucky, clutch, or both on that one chance where it, where the puck, was stopped, but it dropped right in the middle of the crease. Or not in the middle, like right by the corner of the net. And O'Connor's pads just happened to be right where Oren and St. Cyr were trying to jam it in. And so they couldn't get it past. Back at even strength now. Pinned to the boards. And coming out with it is Connor Erdman. Backhands it up, but can't fully clear it. But a penalty is drawn. And so now, just after the failed power play, now Framingham will go on the penalty kill after the penalty called against number 24, Nick Duplessis. That's going to be a 2-minute minor for tripping. Brookline on the power play for the first time. It gets pinned in the corner and now controlled by the Flyers and lifted high and out. And it's going to be covered up by O'Connor as Oren was applying the forward pressure there. And so the faceoff will be in the Brookline end. Faceoff is controlled by Gurdon. Gurdon skating with it. Long pass finds McDougall. McDougall gains the blue line. Heading down to the corner, coming around the back. Passes back to Tien as Brookline sets the play. Tien pass across. Couldn't be cleanly collected by Grady Ames, and he missed on that one, and they get tangled up in the corner. Puck's knocked out, but recovered by Gurdon. Gurdon sends it off the boards to himself, starts to approach, passes out to Grady Ames. Grady Ames sends it through, misses wide, and it goes around the back. And it's lifted high and out by Peck. Chased down again by Gurdon. Around the back, through the neutral zone, pass off the boards. White sends it. It's recovered by Redding. Shot redirects, misses wide. Tien poked away from him. McDougall keeps it with Brookline. Tien recovers, comes around. Looking. Fakes the handoff, fires a wrister. It's walled off. Recovered by Boulos and lifted out. Stopped by O'Connor, and he leaves it for Gurdon. Gurdon coming out the back. Long pass up to Guo, now up to Redding. Redding taps it ahead, finds Tien. Tien shot saved by McKinney. Now the clear gets back out, and the penalty will soon end. Katz skating out with it. Long pass up to Redding. Redding lost it, but it's recovered by Pace. Now out comes the skater, and this is going to be icing as we are back at even strength. So both teams failed to capitalize on the power play. Score still 3-1 Brookline with 7:59 on the clock here in the second. Face-off. And it's somehow kept in the Framingham end, but it is recovered by Garrettson, sent out to the neutral zone. Now pushed further ahead by number 21, Nolan McInerney. McInerney coming around the back, tried to jam it in, walled off by O'Connor. One sent through the slot too fast. Garrettson sends a pass across. Long shot is walled off. Kurtzman tries to send it in again walled off. Recovered by St. Cyr now. St. Cyr's backhander ricochets off a skate and is recovered ultimately by Guo. Guo's pass finds Grady Ames. Ames skating, shot, saved by McKinney. .7:19 on the clock here in the second. Brookline still with a 2-goal lead. And they're going to say McDougall jumped, so Tien will now take the face-off, and Tien wins the face-off. It's corralled by Redding, tries a long insert, gets it to Tien. Tien tries to backhand it through, but no room, and now the attempted clear is ricocheted over the boards. So another Brookline end face-off. Face-off goes back to Tien. Wrister goes off the official's leg. Hope he's okay. Pace chases it down, sends it around the back. It's pinned to the boards, now sent around. Taken by Redding, long shot, walled off. Pace recovers in the corner, but he's outnumbered. Attempted clear, walled off by Tien. Another attempted clear, walled off by Redding. Now Redding's hit knocked down, and skating through the neutral zone, I believe, is Peck, but stolen away by Pace. Moves it out to the neutral zone. And now Connerny sends it all the way around as it's taken back by the Flyers. Hudson sends it up, deflects off the stick of Peck, flies all the way to the back boards where it's taken by Redding. Attempted clear, intercepted shot, saved by O'Connor. Almost a costly giveaway, but there was a defender there with Jeremy Oren to make it so it wasn't a clean shot. Framingham end face-off controlled by Brookline. Sent off the boards, it's recovered by 22. Pass goes back to Hudson, long shot, just barely turned aside by O'Connor and just missed on the putback opportunity. Gangadarin lifts it up. Deflection means no icing. Hudson sends it around for White. White sends it further around for Boulos. Stolen back by Erdman. Erdman trying to weave around too many defenders, and it's taken back by Hudson. Hudson skating with it. Gets stood up by Thomas O'Brien. Long shot is turned aside. Now Aptekman tries a pass, gets away from Erdman. Pass back and forth. And it's corralled, I believe, by number 15, Beninati. Long pass up, now lifted high. Deflects off a body. And now pinned to the near side boards. They are scrumming for it. And nope, they're still going at it. And now it's sent out to the Brookline end. 22 tries to get it through, but cannot. O'Brien lifts it out to the neutral zone where it's taken by Erdman. Erdman kind of whiffed on the pass there, but it's recovered by Aptekman, sent to the Framingham end as Brookline goes for a full change. Might be mistimed. Michael St. Cyr, shot saved by O'Connor. Jack O'Connor having a stellar day between the pipes for Brookline so far. Now we have a Brookline end face-off. And this face-off is controlled for the moment by Brookline. Attempted clear, gets pinned up against the boards. And ultimately the final ricochet goes to Henry Ames. Pass for Max Guo, wasn't ready for it, but it is recovered by Grady Ames. Sent into the Framingham end. Chasing it down is Kurtzman. Kurtzman sends it around for St. Cyr. St. Cyr tries to push it, but Henry Ames walls it off. Out of the scrum, St. Cyr comes with it, coming around the back. Lifts it into the neutral zone, immediately taken by Gurdon. Gurdon pass finds Henry Ames. Knocked away from Ames, recovered by Redding. Redding launches it into the Framingham end. It's walled down, and then Redding keeps it on the attack end as Brookline makes a change. Long pass broken up, but goes into the neutral zone where it's taken by McDougall, over to Redding and up to Tien. Tien chasing it down along the boards, but gets smushed into the boards, and now Framingham trying to skate out with it. And it slides into the neutral zone where Redding winds and fires it back into the Framingham end. Pace kept it on the attack for a moment, now out to the neutral zone, taken back by Tien. Tien gains the blue, whiffs on the shot. Now another attempted clear. Still trying to push it through is McInerney. Gets away, and Kurtzman lifts it out. Redding chases it down. Lifts a pass. A little too high, but it is taken by Kurtzman. Kurtzman sends it around, stopped by O'Connor, taken by Redding. Redding sends it around. Pace keeps it pinned to the wall and gets it out to the neutral zone. Knocked back in, but knocked back out by Redding. Gets away from McDougall and taken now by number 14, Justin Nichols. And now almost a big chance again for Brookline. Weird pass from Pace. Almost gave him a great chance, but just too much traffic. Albright now lifts it out. Gurdon takes it. Gurdon skates with it, sends it off the boards. Into the neutral zone it goes. Tien skating with it now, gains the blue line. Tien dumps it back for McDougall. McDougall trying to push it forward. too many blue shirts taken away. Long lifting pass for Albright, misses him as Katz tries to knock it back, recovered by Nichols. Now left for Peck. Peck sends it back to Connerny. Connerny approaches, shot wide. Ricocheting around the boards all the way to the neutral zone. Peck tries to push it forward, but it's walled off, taken by McDougall. McDougall sends it around as Brookline makes a line change. Connerny sends it up the line to Albright, who gains the blue. Albright sends it into the corner. Matthew Murphy tries to clear, and it does go out to the neutral zone. Number 22 comes away with it, gains the blue line, weaves around one defender, approaching, shot saved by O'Connor. Just barely stopped by Jack O'Connor. He's been a wall today. Face off, sent back. White sends it up the line and around. And it's being scrummed for and ultimately taken by Grady Ames. Sent off the boards to Henry Ames. Backhand pass broken up by White. Ames disturbs it, and Grady Ames pushes it across the blue line, pushed back out by Beninati, and now back in by Katz. Now back out by, I believe, Hudson, and that's going to be icing. Never a dull moment in this one. We've got 1:10 left here in the second period. Face off, won by Brookline, goes back to Reading, long shot turned aside by McKinney. Attempted clear, goes off the boards, taken by Tien. Tien lifts one high and wide. Final minute of the period, and this one ricochets all the way out to the neutral zone. Albright lifts it into the Brookline end. Off the back of the net, it's going to be covered up by O'Connor. .3 seconds. Face off, sent off the near boards. Pace sends it off the boards, taken by McDougall. McDougall skating in the corner, sends it. Albright keeps it on the attack, coming around the back. Backhander to the slot, shot is in! Brendan Peck off a very nice assist from Albright. This game is anything but over, folks. Brookline still leads, but only by 1. I mean, what else can you say about that? Just a nice skate and a nice pass by Noah Albright, who's now got a goal and an assist today. Brookline trying to force it, but it doesn't work. Taken by Albright. Albright approaching, loses his footing, and that might draw a call. And whoa, a lot of pushing and shoving along the boards. Very physical. Oren comes out with it. Shot is in! Jeremy Oren, just like that, has tied it up. We're all squared at 3. I think just about everyone was confused with that. And I think it was it actually a delayed penalty? I'm not sure, because I couldn't tell if I was looking at the other end. I couldn't see if Framingham pulled their goalie. Framingham was waiting for a penalty call. And after that shove, Brookline might have been waiting for one. Whoa, what is happening here? So after that brief moment, still no penalties on anybody at the moment. .8 seconds left here in the period, which has gotten very interesting in these closing seconds. Skating with it now is St. Cyr. St. Cyr can't get a shot off before the buzzer, and it misses anyhow.
At the end of the second period of play, Brookline 3, Framingham 3.
Things are heating up here on the ice. Going into the second intermission, we are tied at 3 goals apiece. Brookline got an early shorthanded goal from Steve McDougall to take a 3-1 lead, but then Framingham answered in the closing minute of the period with 2 goals very close to each other. One scored by Brendan Peck, and then another one by Jeremy Oren. So it is the second intermission. I'm going to take a break off the mic, and I'm also going to plug my camera into charge just to make sure it has the battery life necessary to get through the end of the game. Just a bit of a precaution. It might cause the screen to go black for like a brief second at some random point, but don't worry about it. You know, that's perfectly normal. And it will stop once I unplug it once the third period starts. So don't sweat it. Just focus on the awesomeness of the game. 3-3, Brookline and Framingham tied at second intermission. I'm Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan at Walter Brown Arena. I will be back with the third and final period of regulation. Stay tuned. Hello again, everybody. Once again, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan coming to you live from Walter Brown Arena on the campus of Boston University in Boston, Massachusetts. We're getting ready for the third and final period of regulation here in this Division I high school varsity boys hockey contest between the hosting Brookline High Warriors and the visiting Framingham High Flyers. And at this stage, I do have to say the final period of regulation, because not to be that guy, but the score is currently tied. 3 goals apiece for these two teams in what has been a chaotic affair between these two. Brookline scores first on what was a, pretty impressively put together sequence, ending in a goal for Emmett Tian. Framingham answers back in a goal that almost looked like an accident as the puck got away from the skater, but as a result, the goalie also lost track of it because he was following the stick, not the puck, and so it just rolled between his legs. And then Brookline got a goal back on the shorthand as the point man just lost control of the puck while he was skating with it, lost it behind the blue line, and then Emmett Tian took it back and muscled his way all the way to the other end for the go-ahead score. Then in the beginning of the second period, while still on the shorthand, Brookline got another score from Steve McDougall as Framingham committed a costly error deep in their own end. And so that gave Brookline a 3-1 lead. But then as time was winding down in the second period, well, first Framingham got their second goal on what was actually a pretty impressive play. Noah Albright skated around the back. Albright, the one who scored that first almost accidental goal. There wasn't any accident on this second goal as Albright skated around the back and just sent a perfectly placed pass to line mate Brendan Peck to score and bring him within one. And then mere seconds later, while there was a whole bunch of pushing and shoving and scrumming for the puck along the boards and people calling for penalties on both sides, the puck just squirted out, found the stick of Jeremy Oren, and Oren snuck one in for the equalizer. So that's just the nature of hockey. The nice-looking, clean goals with the sleek passes and the well-placed shots, they're the rarity, especially at this level. A lot of times, if you're going to get a goal, you have to be ready to score a goal no matter how clean or dirty or however you want to phrase it, however smooth or sloppy the goal might look. A goal is a goal. And that's just how you have to approach it. Especially in a sport as chaotic as this. And especially in a game as chaotic as this. So the two teams back out on the ice, and Brookline has put number 31, Craig Haas, back between the pipes after those 2 late goals given up by Jack O'Connor. Brookline continues to rotate their goalies back and forth. Face-off is controlled by the Flyers. Here we go, third period. Flyers moving it into the Brookline end, and a desperate push across almost finds Oren. Oren recovers it off the board, sends it back to Kurtzman. Kurtzman's shot is redirected up into the netting. And so it'll be a face-off in the Brookline end. Face-off is controlled again by Framingham. Kurtzman sends it across to Garrettson. Garrettson sends it down to the corner. And around, taken by Orange, pass back, shot by Peck is turned aside by Haas. That was a beautifully set play by Framingham, but could not get it past the freshman netminder. Long lift out by Tian, taken by Garrettson, pushed back into the neutral zone. Brookline can't touch the puck. because that'll be offside, so it's taken back by Peck. Brendan Peck lifts it, and Redding misjudged that one, so it gets past him. He does push it around the boards, taken by Albright. Pass for Orange, shot blocked and walled off by Redding. Gurdon now lifts it out to the neutral zone where it's taken by Connerny. Pass up to Albright. Albright making an approach, coming around the back, tries to jam one in, but poke check from Gurdon disrupts the shot. Redding sends it off the boards, kept in the attack end. Several ricochets. A shot from Girardi goes wide. Recovered by Gurdon. Pass goes off the skates of Redding and is almost taken away, but they couldn't corral it, and it's taken instead by Henry Ames. Ames sends it around the back. Taken by Gurdon. Gurdon now coming around the back, trying to reset. He sends it around the boards. Guo tries to lift it up. A hard smash into the boards, and that's going to be a penalty call, and Guo is still down on the ice. Michael St. Cyr, it looks like he might have pushed Guo's head up against the boards. That might have just been the result of a height difference or something. You know, I don't think any malice was intended. And Guo is back on his feet. And you're happy to see that. He's probably going to get looked at just to make sure, you know, when it comes to like concussions and stuff, you always want to be safe. And with any injury really at this level with, you know, these high school kids, you always want to be safe. So here's hoping Guo is okay. And in the meantime, that's going to be a 2-minute minor for Michael St. Cyr. So it'll be a 2-minute power play for Brookline. Can they take advantage? They are 0 for 1 on the power play so far. Face-off goes back to Gurdon. Gurdon pass for Grady Ames. Shot goes through. Almost a juicy rebound, but players all tangled up. Ames recovers. Pass back to Gurdon. Long shot. Knocked down and saved by McKinney. Oh no, they've reassessed it to a 5-minute major against St. Cyr. You know, I think there were some Brookline fans initially wondering how that got a 2-minute minor when the hit by Thomas O'Brien back in the first got a 5-minute major. They were two very similar hits. So as a result, we get similar penalties. So a 5-minute power play for Brookline. Emmett Tian skating from the point. Lost it for a second, but got it back. Pass through. One-timer whiffed. Pass might have been deflected. Now it's lifted out to the neutral zone. Gurdon manages to cut off and take the puck. Long pass up to Tian. Tian gains the blue line. Tian skating, sends it around the back for Grady Ames. Ames turns around, passes to the corner to McDougall. McDougall skating around the back, sends it back to the point to Tian. Tian across to Gurdon. Gurdon looking around, pass deflected, but gets to Grady Ames. Ames fires a shot, and it's blocked. Recovered by McDougall. McDougall sends it around for Grady Ames. Ames inserts, knocked back out. McDougall recovers. McDougall scores! The insert from Grady Ames initially blocked, but it ricochets right to the stick of Steve McDougall. And with his second goal today, the captain has given the Warriors back the lead. So now 4-3, the Brookline lead off the power play goal from Steve McDougall. Brookline showing a very interesting set, as that was almost a costly turnover. And Erdman lost track of the puck for a second as the pass goes up. It's recovered by Erdman, gains the blue line. Erdman skates with it, lost his footing as Albright tries to clear it. Thomas O'Brien keeps it in play. Attempted move, walled off by Erdman, but ricochets back to the neutral zone. It's taken by O'Brien, passed across to Katz, but you can see James Redding, a third defenseman, lined up as a wing as he whiffs on that shot. So Brookline possibly taking a more defensive approach now with a 1-goal lead as Katz lifts it into the Framingham end. Erdman trying to force the issue, but it's lifted out by Nichols. No icing off the ricochet as Noah Gurdon takes it. Brookline in the midst of a change. Gurdon skating through the neutral zone, gains the blue line. Still skating with it. Escapes out the back, pass across to McDougall. McDougall back to Gurdon. Gurdon decides to send it around the back for Tien. Tien skating at the point, winds and fires, and it's blocked aside. Gurdon gives it to McDougall. McDougall around the back. Passes to Tien at the point. Tien winds and passes to Gurdon. Gurdon a shot, misses wide. We are still on the power play because it was a 5-minute major. Henry Ames passed through to McDougall. McDougall's shot deflected off the ceiling. And so even though Brookline has scored, they're still going to be on the power play for another minute, 59 seconds.
Come on, keep working, Blue, work!
Face-off is won. Tien long shot turned aside by McKinney. McDougall recovers. Skating around, passes across to Gurdon. Gurdon skating at the point, long shot, misses wide. And the goal goes off its stand. Or wait, are they calling a penalty? Oh, it's another penalty against Framingham. That's against number 27, John Hudson. So it's going to be a minute 43 of 5-on-3 for Brookline, and then another 17 seconds of power play. Off the faceoff, it's sent back to Tien. Tien passes across to Gurdon. Gurdon sends it over to Ames, who whiffs on the one-timer. Pinned to the boards. Grady Ames comes out with it, sends it back to Gurdon. Gurdon from the point, pass over to Grady Ames. Ames turns around, shoots, blocked. Skating after it is Oren, and Jeremy Oren sends it around to the Brookline end. Gurdon skating out the back with it. Long pass up to Tien, now back to Gurdon. Gurdon weaving around, gains the blue line. Looking for his passing options, keeping with the puck. Passes through, goes off the stick of Henry Ames, but not towards the net. Recovered by Tien. Tien pass down for Grady Ames. Back to Tien. Tien, quick pass away to Gurdon. Gurdon approaches, sends a pass through, misses McDougall. Grady Ames recovers it, but passes it away from his brother accidentally. And the long clear is walled off. Oh, a big chance, breakaway. Brendan Peck the other way, shot saved by Haas. Brookline taking it back the other way. Emmett Tien gains the blue line by himself as Brookline makes a line change. Tien comes around the back. Stays with it at the point, passes across to Max Guo. Guo sends a pass through. Broken up from Marcus Pace. Chasing after it is James Redding. Turns around, fires one well wide. Scrumming for it, Max Guo couldn't get a pass off. But coming around the back is Pace. We got one skater coming out. 5-on-4 now. Redding pass back to Tien. Tien, shot, sails high. Redding recovers around the back, tries to pass through. They cannot jam it in. It's covered up by McKinney. And now we are back at even strength. So Brookline unable to capitalize on the 5-on-3. But they do get one goal off of that 5-minute major, and as a result, they now have the lead. 7:59. Face off. Being fought for. Gangadarin sends it around the back. Now Bulas lifts it out. And that's going to have to be walled off by Haas. Katz skating with it. Long pass up, broken up, and goes into the stands. 7:41 on the clock here in the third period. Brookline end face-off. Sent to the corner, where it ultimately ricochets up to Henry Ames. Long pass, broken up, taken by Connerny, lifted into the Brookline end. Katz sends it around the back. 22 cuts it off. Pass broken up by Grady Ames. Goes up to Henry Ames. Lifted up too far, and that's going to be icing. Just out of reach of Max Guo, and he couldn't chase it down before it got down to the end. Face off, won by Framingham. Shot is blocked. And now Kurtzman could not lift it back in without it crossing the blue line, so Framingham has to reset. Gurdon with the puck, trying to fend off the forecheck, and he can't. It's stolen back. Pass goes all the way back to Kurtzman. Shot blocked by Tien, and a weird ricochet off the body. Emmett Tien, breakaway. Shot is saved by McKinney. McDougall keeping it on the attack. Redding moves it up ice and around. An absolute thrilling game so far. It just never stops as this one clears out. Chased down by Redding. Long pass, finds Pace. Pace pass, gets away from Gurdon, but Gurdon keeps up the pursuit, sends it around. It's recovered by White. Pass up to Oren. Oren across to Peck. Peck approaching. Gets stood up by McDougall. Tries a backhand turn aside by Haas. Pass through to Albright. Couldn't get a shot off. Disrupted by Katz. Long pass goes up. Henry Ames now skating with it. Ames trying to kick it through. Poked away. Too many blue shirts in there. White tries to clear. He gets it out to the neutral zone. And now we've got, I believe, an offsides call. 5:55 left on the clock in what has been an absolute thriller so far. Face off. Ultimately controlled by Max Guo, but not properly. That's offsides. Another face off is pushed back, taken by White. White trying to fend off Guo. He passes across to Hudson. Now up to 22. Now off the boards, taken by Katz. Katz pass deflected by Girardi, but covered up by Haas. And the ref going over and talking to the Framingham bench. And now a Brookline end face-off. Pushed back, taken by Katz. Katz around, taken by Ames. Henry Ames lifts it up, taken back by White. White off the boards. Now back off the boards by Thomas O'Brien. Up for Grady Ames. Grady Ames tries a pass through. Not enough juice on it. Oh, a juicy chance, but they couldn't put it in. McKinney laid out to cover it up. Now a long push, and that's going to be icing. Just one thrilling play after the next. It looked like that pass from Grady Ames wasn't going to have enough juice to get to Max Guo, but somehow Guo or Ames or both somehow deflected that puck towards the net, and McKinney just flattened his body to block that one. Off the face-off shot is blocked by Albright. Albright tries to clear. It's knocked down. And I think, are they going to say that Gurdon didn't grab it properly, and so they're going to have a Brookline end face-off. 5:05 on the clock. 4-3, Brookline currently leads. Face-off, goes back to Redding. Now it's pushed back and covered up by Haas. Face-off sent around the boards. Sent down to an attempted pass. Ricochet several different ways. It's recovered by Connerny and sent to the corner for Albright. Albright trying to fend off the defenders, gets a pass around to Oren. Oren sends a pass through Ricochets. Nichols sends it back to Connerny. Connerny, long shot, is walled off by Redding. Redding tried to clear it out, but it's kept in the Brookline end. Now pushed out by Erdman, gets up to Tien. Tien stood up by Nichols. And it's taken back by the Flyers. This is Peck. Peck gains the blue line. Tries a shot, comes in wide. Rebound chased down by Albright, sent around the boards. Peck trying to chase after it, but he's being pinned by Redding. Now off the ricochet, it's taken by Oren. Oren sends it back to Hudson. Hudson gets pushed up against the boards by Redding, and it's taken back by McDougall. McDougall's attempted clear, walled off by Hudson. Hudson passes it down for Peck. Cleared out now by Redding, but that's going to be way too far, and that's definitely icing. Framingham bringing the pressure here in the closing minutes. Goals scored so far, 2 goals for Emmett Tien, 2 for Steve McDougall, and 1 each from Noah Albright, Brendan Peck, and Jeremy Oren. Long shot saved by Haas. Cat sends it around the boards. They can't quite clear it. It's walled off by Hudson again. Trying to stay with it. Several different players. Now Girardi comes away with it. Tries a pass again. No room there, and it's cleared out by O'Brien. Sent off the boards, walled down by Beninati. Now another attempt to clear. Hudson lost his footing, lost the puck. 3-on-1 skates. Guo approaching pass. Redirected in! Grady Ames! A perfectly placed crosser from Max Guo finds his line mate Grady Ames, and Brookline takes a multi-goal lead. That one was just perfectly placed. You know, like I said, we've had, you know, some goals that were a little more chaotic in nature. That one was just perfectly executed. Brookline trying to keep up the pressure. It's a 2-goal lead, but there's still over 3 minutes left. Sent around the boards and broken up by Erdman, lifted up for Tien. Emmett Tien trying to fight for it, gets the feet taken out from under him by Kurtzman, and it's sent around the boards where it's chased down by Oren. Oren gives it back to Kurtzman, pass deflected away, and now Tien pushes it deep into the Framingham end. Now I believe this is Connerny skating with it. Leaves it. Long pass up to Kurtzman. Kurtzman gains the blue line. Heading down to the corner. Pushed into the boards by Redding. And now a long pass back. And that got away from him. Down in the Framingham end. Oren chasing after it. Guo on his tail. And the ricochet gives it to Connerny. Connerny sends it up the ice. Now a pass across. Finds Kurtzman, who sends it up to Oren. Oren's pass deflected, but a chance whiffed by Albright and lifted out a long way by Thomas O'Brien, but right to the net, so no icing. Chased down by Hudson. Hudson's pass gets away from its target, but ultimately collected by Oren. Left for Girardi. Shot goes wide. Chasing it down is White. White comes around. Pass deflected. Recovered by Hudson. Pass goes down to the corner to Beninati. Sent around for Girardi. Broken up by Grady Ames. Lifted out by O'Brien. Ricochets. McDougall sends it to the neutral zone. Hudson tries to move it back off of a line change. A hard hit. And now a pass goes out to an open McDougall. Wines, fires, save. Juicy rebound. Not there. Just barely cleared out by Hudson. Tien pushes it back into the Framingham end. White takes it. 1 minute left now here in the period. Got to watch for the empty net. Peck approaching shot turned aside by Haas. Peck recovers backhand pass off a skate. Attempted clear. Goes all the way down. McKinney has to come out and lift it out. Now Kurtzman skating with it. Still waiting for their opportunity to go empty net. But it's taken back by Erdman. Sent up for Tien. Emmett Tien approaching. Pass. Not there. Albright tries to clear it. Kept in the attack end for the moment. Tien had it for a second, but it's poked away. Taken by Oren. Pass redirected. Redding sends it up to Tien. Tien sends it up. Wide open. Steve McDougall approaching. Shot saved by McKinney. Just 9.2 seconds left. And that last burst of forward pressure by Brookline might just seal it. Face-off is controlled for a second. A trip. But it's a delayed penalty, and now I think they're going to call the penalty, as that's going to be a trip on Brookline. So the last 1.6 seconds are going to be spent as a Framingham power play, I think. Or are they? No, they got 5 skaters each. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe a delay of game. But at this point, it doesn't matter. The Brookline High Warriors secure the win at home against Framingham. They snap their 4-game losing streak and deliver an upset victory over the higher-ranked Flyers. The final score here at Walter Brown: the Brookline Warriors 5, the Framingham Flyers 3. What an absolute thrilling contest this was. You see the two goalies hugging for Brookline, Craig Haas, number 31, and Jack O'Connor, number 30. Both of them saw time in net today. Haas started, gave up a goal. O'Connor took over, gave up 2 late goals in the second, and then Haas took over to start the third period and stayed for the rest of the way. You know, a lot of, sometimes changes like that can rattle a goalie, especially a young goalie. But those two showed a lot of poise, I felt like, today. Even in a high-scoring match like today, don't sleep on the efforts of the netminders. I mean, I also would be remiss if I didn't give a shout-out to the Framingham netminder, Colin McKinney, and the many efforts he made to keep his team in this contest throughout. Summarizing the scoring, in the first period, Emmett Tien got the first goal, launching one top shelf off at the assists from Steve McDougall and Marcus Pace as Brookline took a 1-0 lead. Noah Albright scored the equalizer on a weird play where he seemed to lose the puck, but it slid between the legs of Haas for the equalizer. Assists on that play came from Brendan Peck and Jeremy Oren. And so that left it at 1-1. Then Brookline got hit with a 5-minute major penalty that put them on the shorthand for the entire rest of the first period. But Brookline actually managed to score on the shorthand. Emmett Tien took advantage of a stick handling mistake by the point man for Framingham. Muscled his way into position to take the puck and take it all the way down for the go-ahead score, make it 2-1. Then as the 5-minute major carried over to the start of the second period, and Framingham ended up making another costly gaffe, this time right around their own net as Sheehan recovered it, made a shot. It was turned aside, but off another deflection, it wound up right at the stick of Steve McDougall, who put it in for Brookline's second shorthanded goal. That made it 3-1. But Framingham, give them credit, they did not lie down. They got their second goal late in the second. A nice pass from Noah Albright found Brendan Peck in the slot for the Flyers' second goal, made it 3-2. And then just seconds later, the puck squirted out from a scrum up against the boards in the Brookline end, and it ended up right at the stick of Jeremy Oren, who put it in to tie things up with just seconds left in the second period, send things into the third, tied at 3 apiece. Then, after some failed power plays on both sides, Brookline got a chance as Framingham got called for a 5-minute major, and Brookline took advantage on that power play. Steve McDougall scored what would be the game-winning goal, his second goal of the day, matching Sheehan in goal totals. That made it 4-3, and then as an insurance score, Grady Ames scored, redirecting a perfect crossing pass from his line mate Max Guo, and that was the final goal of the game. A couple notes in the live chat from Steve Sheridan. Nice win, Brookline. Jesse, great job, real professional. Thank you very much, Steve. And from Mike Yanovich, biggest win in 20-plus years. Good job, boys. And I'm sure they'll be happy to hear that from you, Coach Yanovich. A thrilling win for Brookline as the 45th ranked Warriors upset the 32nd ranked Flyers in what could be a critical game for Brookline to potentially move their way up the power rankings. Brookline snaps a 4-game losing streak and improves to 5-11 on the year. Framingham loses their 4th straight and falls to 6-8. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. If you enjoyed this live stream, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all my upcoming live streams, including all home games here at Walter Brown for Brookline High girls and boys hockey through the rest of this winter season. The Brookline boys are going to have their senior day game on Saturday back here at Walter Brown at 2 o'clock against rival Newton North. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Subscribing to the channel can help. If there's anything you'd like to say, you can say it in the comment section down below after this live stream has concluded. And if you check out the bottom right corner of your screen, you'll see 3 URLs there. First, the URL to my personal website, jessesports.com. Find out more about me, the freelance sports broadcasting services that I provide, and how you can commission those services for your favorite team or for your favorite team. And below that, my email address, jgms88@gmail.com. You can just contact me directly for any questions or requests you may have. And below that, the URL to my Instagram account, instagram.com/jgms88. Follow me on Instagram, where I post highlights from previous live streams. But for this live stream, that is going to do it. 2 goals each from Emmett Sheehan and Steve McDougall, and 1 from Grady Ames lead Brookline to victory behind a platoon effort in net from Craig Haas and Jack O'Connor. The final score, Brookline 5, Framingham 3. From Walter Brown Arena, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night.